here is the next update, and you know, we are at everybody's favorite point in building a helix. Everybody loves building helices. Not. And this one is probably one of the most difficult helix you can build because it's sitting inside a column. There is no hole in there that you can crawl in and then build it up or lay track up. It's going to be all from outside, but this was the only spot that made sense because taking 25 square feet out of any of these places, any of these corners, would have been a real waste. And so the helix ended up being here. I think I can work it out. I mean, I have all the measurements, and it's going to be counterclockwise. It was going to be actually clockwise originally, but then I realized it's probably better to go counterclockwise and then come out here and climb up. I'll still have to cross the same track on the same level to climb up, but you know, it's one of those things, whatever. And so now I have these these are rubber mats that I've cut into 3 by 9 inches. They are footings for the helix, and the threaded rods are going to go through these holes. As you can see, I already had these before, and then I guess I threw them out. I didn't save them, and now I have to cut them again. So now I have to drill again these holes and match them. I mean, drill holes through here to match them with the surface, but the surface is not secured, and thus I need to get the rods out, put one layer temporarily, I mean one loop, and then align the base, this base, and then secure it to the benchwork, and then remove the rods, and then fiddle with this stuff, and then start building a helix. It's all eerily familiar because I've been there before. I can show you a picture. I had the loop already made, and then I tore it down. But you know, hey ho, as they say in UK. So I'm still thinking about this part here. In the old helix I had a double crossover, and the double crossover was sort of allowing the trains to go one way or the other, either up or to the middle deck from either of the staging yards. And I had a much bigger staging yard in the past. I don't really need it now, but in this layout, one side is south of the entry point, I guess, and the one side is north. I mean, north up like in Delaware, and south is like in, you know, Cape Charles. So actually south of Cape Charles, across the bay, across the Chesapeake Bay. So really, I mean, am I going to have trains that were in Chesapeake Bay, or I mean on the other side of Chesapeake Bay coming from the north? I don't know. Maybe I'll have more trains on one side than the other. The traffic is southbound priority, so it goes up the Delmarva Peninsula. So I would assume there will be more trains going north than trains coming south. And I'm waving my hands here because that really makes all the sense. So would it then matter to put a double crossover and then allow trains, if I have more than 6 trains going one direction, to be stored in the other yard and then just come through? Because nobody's gonna really know that and pay attention, and it doesn't really matter. The issue with that here is wiring. So red, green, green, red. So these tracks actually oppose each other. They're not the same polarity because this loops around, and I've done this on purpose because when you go up the helix and you come out, then the polarity matches in this direction and in this direction when you come back. So I don't need to put any reverse loops or reversals or anything. But if I do this, then I have to figure out how to reverse this whole double crossover, and I don't know. It's a short distance and it's a powered diamond and whatnot, so I think the whole 2 tracks all the way to the back would have to be reversed for this to work. But then what happens if there's a train waiting on one side or the other? Well, anyways, I gotta first finish these portals. So I'm going to finish the portals, and then get these holes drilled and then worry about this or not. And I might not just bother with it, so you'll see. But that's it for this update, just to show where I am right now, and more to come. And here we go. The portal's painted. Already looks good. The blue blends in and whatnot, so just a quick paint job, 2 coats. But that's all it needs, because the heel is gonna go in there, and I don't think anyone's gonna pay attention to that, but still, it's gonna look nice once the trim is there, and it's gonna look finished. Here's another update. Portal trim is finished, so I guess portals are done. It turned out okay. I just couldn't find the right trim. This outside corner trim that I had before was smaller than what they have today. So I think this one is 1/2 inch or something, and the other one I found was 1 inch or something like that. I guess they don't make 1/2 inch anymore, because the 2 pieces I had of 8 foot 1/2 inch one were bought before pandemic, and I guess now they just make this bigger one. Well, it doesn't matter. So I put the narrower ones inside and the wider ones outside. They're not gonna be visible, more or less. No one's gonna pay attention to them anyways, but they're just a finishing touch so that it looks complete. And it blends in. And then those clamps, I had to clamp it in those 2 spots because the wall is uneven, so there was a bit of bumpiness or whatnot. I didn't want to brad nail them. I just used caulking and then a bit of caulk inside and then against the edge, so it should be okay. I mean, it needs to hold just that. So, well, here is your first update video for Helix Build, and you can see the uprights are in place. It's just 3/8 threaded rods that are going through T-nuts, and then at the bottom they're secured with another nut and some washers and a rubber washer. I figure maybe that's gonna dampen the noise. Maybe not. Most likely not. So this part was like the easiest thing, because putting the rods through and the nuts and whatnot, that's like 1/2 hour work. The previous 2 or 3 weeks of deliberations of all kinds of things are not counted for anything. But, you know, here we are. So this is the final, I would say, I guess, parameters. So 4 inches rise per turn, and then I have the first loop, which is the most critical one, where you define your grade, and the grade ends up being 2.23% on the outer and 2.45 on the inner. And then these are actual grades, calculating for the curvature and whatever. I don't think it matters. You know, after all these years of looking at all kinds of helices and all kinds of formulas and whatnot, and I think people are making a big deal out of nothing about grades. And, you know, those who don't worry about it, they just make a 24-inch helix on a 4 or 3.5% grade and it still works, but, you know, whatever. So that's that, and I'm going to use this just cheap acrylic latex caulk plus silicone. Apparently it's better, the clear one is better than the white one, so I'll use that for securing the cork and the track. And I think that's going to be the most fun part, because the track needs to be threaded in between here and whatnot, and I have to drill some holes for the wires. I'm gonna go to the local surplus store. I think they have some multi-stranded wire and multi-conductor wire, so I want to get like a 9 or 8, 9, maybe 16, because I have 8 loops, so I'll need 16 plus 1 wires to do block detection per loop. And then down here, where the command station is, I'm going to install those Realcomm detectors. I have them placed here. Although 2 are not going to be enough. I think I'll need another one because each has 6 channels, so I need 16, so I'll have 18 and then 2 will be spare, or not really spare, but whatever else. I might have to rearrange this or something, I don't know. Oh well. So yeah, that's where we are right now. I'm gonna see what else I can do next, and then I have my jig there that I use to scribe the radii onto the segments, the helix segment. So there is the, I'll just show that quickly if I can with one hand. So it goes like that, and then I have 3/8 nuts there, bolts, sorry, and then I have this protractor, aka protractor, piece of wood, and then it just goes through there, and then these are already pre-measured for 28.5 and 26, and then I just put magic markers and then go along and then done. But I need to do every other one because I'm doubling up these segments, so there's one underneath and then one on top, so I don't need to scribe the one on top. And then I'll use okay, well, whatever. I'll use those clips, like binding clips or whatever they're called, for documents, and then I'll just pinch the segments. That's gonna keep them in place. That way I don't have to screw or drill or anything else or glue them, just in case I need to take apart or fix something or whatever. Yeah. And then I was fiddling with here. I had to like do a bit of planing to get the surfaces smooth and level in a sense, because it kind of climbs up to here, sorry, to there. It come down, then it's going to come out to here, and then I need to move this track to go a bit this way and then go up there. But I mean, that's not a big deal anyways. Yeah, here's another Helix update. I've put the spacers now between the levels or between the posts, the threaded rods, and it took a couple of tries because I ended up mistakenly cutting them a 1/4 inch shorter, and that's because I didn't account that I'm actually putting 2 layers of the helix segments, not one. So they're going to be stacked one on top of the other, thus making it 1/2 inch taken out 1/4 inch, and so these first were 1/4 inch too short, or yeah, 1/4 inch, something like that. Either way, now it's fine, and you can see how this is done here. So I've just used the spacers, and sometimes I put a washer in certain places, sometimes I don't. It just depends. But generally I just measure from the base surface to the top of the, well, there will be another segment here, to the top of that segment, and that's basically what I have on my computed chart. And I'm gonna go back there and show you that. So there it is. So these are the heights basically to the surface level. So the first segment is 3/4, that's one here, and then 1 5/16, 1 7/8, 2 7/16, and so on and so forth until I get to the last one, which is 4 1/8, and that's why this is so tall. So now I'm gonna start finishing this. I mean, I've already marked the track centers on one of these segments. I gotta do another one, and then I'm not going to really fasten anything yet. Even these rods are kind of loose for now because I'm trying to make them all line up so that it's not pulling in any direction, it's not tight, and also I'm going to try to make them level in vertical level them. So that's why I have these thing. This thing is really for corners, but when you use it against a upright, for example, you can see which way it's level and which way it's not. So obviously it's not in place, not secured, so it's fine. And then, you know, cork, I'm gonna use just the usual suspect, the acrylic latex caulk with silicone. This one's clear. They said it adheres better, lasts better, and we'll see. I've not used this before. I mean, I've used the other one. I used even the cheaper one, the painter's white one, but I think it will be fine. Silicone will be better probably because it does not solidify as much, and so it remains flexible, and thus when the trains go over it, it's not going to be as noisy. I have no idea how noisy this is going to be anyways. I've put these rubber feet or whatnot to dampen the noise, but these rods go through the benchwork and into the bottom, and you can see here, and I have a rubber washer, but I don't know if that does anything, because really to isolate the whole post from the benchwork, I should have had a rubber, I don't know, some kind of a piece like a cylinder inside through the hole, so that it has a rubber spacer separating the rod, so that the rod does not touch the benchwork. And you know, that's like a age-old problem that goes with the roadbed, right? You put roadbed down and you use caulk down, and you say, okay, well, that's gonna be great. And then you put track down, and then you use ballast, and you put glue, and then the glue is actually solidified so much that it transfers the noise from the track to the sub roadbed. Therefore, you know, totally avoiding the whole process of using any elastic adhesives or something like that. I mean, I guess there are some ways to go around this if you use acrylic-based glues or like matte medium and whatnot. But then, you know, I mean, some adhesives are better than others, and people have tried all kinds of things and use all kinds of things, and really whatever works for you. And you know, I'm not going to be ballasting the Helix, so it doesn't matter. So there is that update for this time, and then I'll continue doing this stuff, and then I'll just post more. I've bought some wire. Where is it? Yeah, I got some thicker cable, and this one has 4 pairs. It's 20 gauge, so I'm going to use those to power each of the loops, and since it's double track, you know, I'm going to double that cable, and then it's going to go down into the panel and into the block detection and everything else. So there are the holes there, and then I'm just going to thread that and make it neat, but I'm not there yet. So when I get there, I'll put more video up or record more video and then put it up. So that's it for now. Thanks.